Good morning! Welcome, Girl Power. Today is all about presenting your idea and learning how to take the stage and tell us what your idea is all about. Don't worry, we'll teach you how to do that. My name is Harald Lepisk. I'll be hosting today's event. I'll be coaching you with your short presentation on your idea. And today, what we're planning to do is, first, let's check out who are here. So we have 6 different schools, 3 from Latvia, 3 from Estonia. And I want you to make some noise if I shout out your school name. So I want to feel that you are here. So when I shout out your school name, you can, I don't know about Latvia, but in Estonian, this is very intense thing to do. Yay! This is like hyper intense thing to do. How's it in Latvia? Do you want to stand up and shout? It depends. It depends what your style is. But the point is, I want to sense the room, and I want the others to sense the room as well. How's the energy with your group, the people that came from your school? So when I shout out your school name, I want you to find your own way, but to make some noise. And we have a VU meter as well. We'll find out who made the loudest noise, who made the floor shake. Then they were the most powerful ones. Let's find out who is the first on the list. So, all the girls from Pärnu Gymnasium, co-educational gymnasium, 3, 2, 1, make some noise. They're very like, oh. Yes, very mild one. So let's see if the second school can make some more noise. I saw there were students, but they were like, oh my God, this is too early in the morning to do that kind of stuff. All right, second school on the list. I'll shout out the name, then I'll do 3, 2, 1, and on 1 make some noise. So, Viljandi Gymnasium, 3, 2, 1. All right, it's getting louder. Let's see how about the third school. Third school is Tartu Miina Härma Gymnasium, 3, 2, 1, now. Not too many, but still. All right, let's travel to Latvia. So, we have here Ostwald School, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, nice. So we have 2 more Latvian schools. I think this one was the loudest. Let's see if you can be louder than them. School 34, 3, 2, 1, now. Which one was louder? Ostwalda or 33, 34? Which one? Viljandi. Oh, okay, Viljandi was louder, okay? Now, final chance. This goes to school 40. See, I count 3, 2, 1. You can beat the whole thing. You can be the loudest. Maybe there's like only one student. Ah! Let's see. So, school 40. 3, 2, 1. Nice. Even girls were standing up. These are the most courageous girls in the room. So this is just to check out the vibe here. Now, let's see what we have in plan. As I said, we'll be learning how to present our ideas today. So I will teach you in the beginning what are some of the key principles when you want to take the stage and present your idea to potential buyers, to investors, to jury members. What are the principles behind that? After that, we will have kind of like these 2 breakout sessions. There's 2 things that we will be practicing today. One is how to present and speak about your idea. And the other one is how to present your idea or your company in like a TV show media. So one of the workshops will be basically we will have a journalist here who will be simulating an interview setting with you so that you go to a TV show. Yeah, cameras will be here as well. She will be asking questions and you will be like, oh, yeah, we're doing this and we're building this amazing thing over there. So it's a chance to really practice the way you present your idea. Actually, communication is one of the key skills to train. It's a trainable skill. It's not that, oh, I'm not a fancy communicator. You can train yourself, and that's why we are here today, to train, to practice. And every time when we take the stage, we become more courageous, which means we won't be so scared about the next time. We will be more confident. We will be more kind of like shining on the stage. That's why we are here for, to kick off your journey of becoming a greater speaker. And in the end of the day, we will have a grand pitch. So we have a couple of jury members, just to make it more formal in a way. And you have a chance to take the stage. Each team comes here with their representative and presents their idea in 1 to 2 minutes. So you have maximum 2 minutes to pitch, to present your idea in the end of the day. And the whole days, we are actually preparing for that. We are learning that. We are rehearsing for that. So to introduce the interview workshop will be led by Mirjam Mõttus. Mirjam Mõttus is from the National Broadcast Company in Estonia. So she's a journalist, and she will be hosting the session, asking questions from you, and simulating a TV show interview. Anyone done any TV show interviews before? Nice. So you're like, oh, I'm going to nail it. Yeah. So the jury members that will be here in the end of the day when you present your ideas, we have 2 wonderful people. So one of them is Viljandi from the local business advisory services, and another is Eda Tagamets from the Ministry of Education and Research in Estonia. They will be kind of providing some feedback and giving some support for you. Before we kick off, let's kind of kick off our brains as well to get them working. Now, when you are presenting an interesting new idea to your friends or to your class members at school, have you ever got this situation when you had this cool idea? Oh, on the Christmas time, we should take a bus and go and drive everyone to that place and do this kind of thing, and you were excited, and you were presenting this idea to your classmates, like, let's go, let's do it. And they were like, well, it's a nice idea, but I don't know, we don't have money for that, or I don't know, I don't have time for that, and so forth. So you probably have this familiar feeling whenever you're presenting an idea to someone, but they're like, nope. How does it feel when someone you have a new idea, you present it, and they go, no, but blah, 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 blah. What reasons why we can't do it? Are you excited after that? Do you feel like, I have 99 more ideas, let's try out those? Or are you more like, screw it, I'll leave it like that? But we'll try some opposite to that. What is the opposite to no but? What would be the opposite to no but? Yes and. So we'll be trying one conversation in the mindset of yes and. By the way, has any one of you seen any improvisational theater shows? Improvisational theater is when actors don't have script. They come on the stage and they start to kind of play some story, whichever somehow evolves. And they have one rule that they use, and it's called yes and. It means that whichever you throw at me, any story, any situation, I will go, yeah, and then let's take this guy as well, and let's go to that place as well. So I'll play along. And the yes and creates this very safe environment. You feel that I can experiment, I can play around, I can use some humor if I want to. And we're going to try that. And we're going to use one kind of like prompt question. And the prompt question is, what inspires you? So the exercise will go in a way that I will soon ask you to find form a group of people that you are not so well aware of. So they shouldn't be your classmates, they shouldn't be your team members, they should be new people, because it's to get to know each other. And once we have gathered around, the question will be, what inspires you? And just as prompts, there are like 3 keywords. Is it activities that inspire you? Maybe your favorite hobbies, maybe the things you're passionate about. Is it people? Maybe there's certain kind of people that really inspire you. You look at them and you feel like, oh my God, I want to create something, I want to do something. Or maybe it could be things as well. Whichever you choose. The question here is, what inspires you and why that? Now, how it will work is that I will soon ask you to stand up and form some groups of, let's say, 4 or 5 people. So I will ask you to stand up and move away from your team members and move away from your existing classmates that you already know to find someone that you are not so familiar yet. Then you form a little circle with each other. Once you're ready, I will tell us how we prepare for the exercise. But step 1, I kindly ask you to stand up, move away from the table, and form a group of 4 or 5 people who are not your team members, who are not your classmates, new people. In between the tables, form a group of 4 to 5 people. Create a little circle. You can say hello to each other. Whoever is still looking for a group, you can wave with your hand. Keep your hand up, then they know that they can invite you to there. It's nice if it's about 4, maximum 5 people. So create this little circle with those members. And yes, teachers, I kindly ask you to participate as well. Mix 2 groups from you as well. All right. Yes, girls, please find a group. Girls on the back, are you still looking for someone, or are you okay? Everything is okay. All right. So we have to decide who will start in the group, because how this exercise will go is that the first person will say, I am inspired by, and then whichever it is. You could, first round, you could start with your hobbies. For example, I'm inspired by dancing because dancing makes me feel like this. Then you pass on to the next person on your right hand, and they will start with yes, and I am inspired by, and they could say, for example, maybe specific people. I am inspired by very determined people, those who are really kind of fulfilling their dreams, because it makes me feel that things are possible. All right? And then you pass on to the person on your right. How will they start? What's the first phrase? Yes, and I am inspired by, and whichever comes. Could be a person, thing, could be an activity, whatever comes. What kind of makes you feel? And the cool thing about this exercise, it could be that you don't have to think at once, like, what will I answer? Rather, just listen to what others are saying. Often, it will lead you, but this thing inspires me. But do remember to use this phrase, yes and, because we can be inspired by many things. We can even be inspired by opposites. For example, one might say, I'm inspired by really creative and crazy people. Another might say, yes, and I'm inspired by really serious and really like number people. Yes, that's okay, because we can both be inspired by very different things. Let's just celebrate what it is. And you will do several of circles like this, as long as I will say that the time is over. And I would encourage you to keep this tempo. Like you say what you are inspired by, and little short explanation why it inspires you. And then you pass it on to the person on your right. But we have to decide who will start. And to do that, we will use one like game from Western movies. You know Western movies like cowboys, cowgirls over there. So first of all, put your attention pointers here. These are called attention pointers now on your hips. And when I count 3, 2, 1, you will point at some person in your group and you will say, you will start. And the more fingers one person will get, this means they won, they will start. They will be the first to start. They start, then give for the person on the right. Okay? One thing, you have 2 hands, so you could use one hand to one person, one to other. Or, if you want to start, then you could say, I will start as well. And then you count the fingers. But before we start, one moment, look at your team members' eyes, what color their eyes are. Just focus at one moment. Look at their eyes. Be aware of that. All right? In your mind, think, who should start first? Okay, get your attention pointers ready. I will count 3, 2, 1. And on 1, you start. And then you count whoever gets the most votes, right? You guys ready? All right. 3, 2, 1, you start! Count who got the most votes, will be the first to start. All right, and go for it. I am inspired by. You start, and the next person goes on the right. Yes, and I am inspired by. And we'll take a couple of minutes for this exercise. Go for it. Yes, start. 3, 2, 1, time. So give a shout to your group members that you had the conversation with. Tell them, thank you for sharing. If you want, you can give a high five for them and find your seat, please. How do you feel? The question, what inspires you, is one of the prompts that you can always use whenever you want to have a good conversation, because if something really inspires a person, it usually lights them up, it gets them excited. You know, what is the difference between motivation and inspiration? Motivation is if there's a rational reason why I have to do it. Inspiration is if there's a feeling I just want to do it. I even don't know why, but I feel somehow this kind of like desire to take this action. And once you connect with people, with what inspires them, the conversations will go to the next height. So I encourage you to have those what inspires you conversations, and whenever you're introducing yourself, don't just say, I'm from this school, blah, 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 but say, I'm a person that's really inspired by this and that. Now, there's one kind of people that really inspire me. It's people that have ideas. I love people with ideas, because whenever I'm with people who have ideas, I feel there is hope that things can get better. I feel that I want to do things better. I want to start some new things. So there's a lot of excitement in the air with people who have ideas. But there's one problem with ideas. What is it? What is it? You have to do them as well. Otherwise, ideas... Yeah. Can be what? Unrealistic? The main problem, I would say, being unrealistic, being that you don't do them, the problem is ideas can... That would be a wonderful thing if they do it, actually, because then this magical good thing will happen in the world. Especially, it's funny when I work with, let's say, social entrepreneurs who are creating social change. And if someone would take your social impact idea and do it, that would be wonderful. I mean, come on, I have free time now, they do it, right? So with business idea, we somehow hold together like, oh my God, they steal my business idea, maybe they will do it. How likely is it? I mean, let's face it, I've been doing this for like 16 years, more than 1,200 events. I can't recall ever hearing an idea that I want to steal from someone. Why? Because it's uniquely theirs. It's their thing. I have my thing. I'm inspired by their idea, but I don't want to do their thing because I'm really happy if they do it. But that's one of the fears that people might have. Maybe someone will steal it, I won't share it. But I would say the greatest problem that we have with ideas is that ideas die. And ideas die not because they are bad ideas. Ideas die because the owner of the idea, the founder of the company or organization, is not able to communicate that idea well enough. You know, he's not able to convince the investors to put in the money, not able to convince team members to join the team, not able to convince customers to buy that product. That's the main reason why ideas die. We don't want our ideas die, do we? That's why we're here today, to learn how can we communicate in a way that people will understand the value of that idea. And one popular form of how to do it is called an elevator pitch. Elevator pitch comes as a term from the United States. Back in the old days, when starting entrepreneurs wanted to meet big money boss investors, but they couldn't get there because the secretaries were saying, no, you can't go. They weren't able to kind of get their connection. So some of the entrepreneurs figured out that if I'm able to get to the same elevator with that big money boss investor, and in that elevator, within those 20 seconds, I'm able to explain, get them interested in this idea, then I might get the next meeting to really convince the investor to put in money to invest in my company. Because for many companies, if you don't get investment, you won't have funding to actually produce those things and get things running. That's why it's vital to have an investor in some cases. Now, they figured that out, and it was started calling that the elevator pitch, which means in a short time, you have to convince someone to kind of look into your idea. There's two things that you want to achieve in an elevator pitch. You can't tell everything in 20 seconds. That's a too short time. But what you can do is that you can create interest in your idea. That's an interesting thing. And secondly, you can create trust for the other person to feel, okay, I think I trust this person. I might be willing to have a further conversation with that person. So interest and trust are the key things if you have very short time. And whenever you want to pitch your idea to someone, in a competition, to a team member, think about it. What would create interest in them and what would create trust that they would be willing to cooperate with me? Once you figure that out, everything becomes more clear what I should be focusing on, what I should say. And that's the key about pitching, these short form presentations. I mean, if I would give you 1 hour to talk about your idea, everyone could kind of explain all kinds of things. But if it's only 1 minute, what would you say? What would you tell about your idea? What actually matters? And that's the most exciting part about these elevator pitch formats. The big question is, we can imagine that every listener has this control center in them with lots of buttons. And the question is, are you able to press the right buttons? I mean, you could go and try to press everything and maybe they will move, but usually that means you confuse them. If you try to tell about everything, then you won't have enough time to kind of build any strong idea. Always think about your listeners, about their drivers, their interests, and what resonates with them. Now, in our case, we know in the end of the day, you have to present to the jury. So my goal here is to provide you with the finest tools and principles that will help you to clarify what should I talk in this 1 minute and how to do it. Let's think about 3 different groups and what are the buttons that motivates them. Group number 1 are your customers. If you're selling a product, by the way, who of you is not only on an idea level, but you have already built something already, any products, okay? Anyone who has sold something, sold? Not your mother, some like stranger actually paying money for that, sold? Okay, nice, all right, nice to know. For others, it's mostly the idea, just an idea. We could build something like this and it should be nice, right? Then it's especially important to have the skill of pitching. So what usually the customers want? 3 things. First of all, customers want products that improve their lives, that somehow make them feel that it will make my life better if I have it. If it's not there, they're like, why should I need that? The second thing is they want sellers they can trust. If someone comes and sells some, like, let's say someone like fishy guy comes at the supermarket and sells it, we have this good vacation offer, pay me 200 euros and you will get to Egypt and all inclusive and everything. Would you trust that guy? Kind of like, maybe this guy just takes my 200 euros and runs away, right? So trust is a key. And sometimes when it comes to young people doing their products, the problem with trust is that people will think, are they actually able to build it or not, right? Let's say we have these Kickstarter campaigns where you put in money before the product is done, but do I believe they are able to actually make it happen? And the third element is attractive value proposition. This means that you are offering something, it comes with a good functionality, good value, good pricing. It feels like, yes, this is good thing on the marketplace. This is what I need. This is what I want to buy. So these are the buttons that usually, if you're able to press these buttons in your advertisement, in your sales pitch, then you're more likely to get the sale from that customer. The other group is investors. Anyone planning to raise investor money here? Any teams that are planning to use investors? Okay. So whenever you're pitching to investors, usually depends on the investor, but there's 3 things that they want. First of all, they want products that people want to buy. I mean, as an investor, why would I invest in something that people don't want to buy? That would be a waste of money. We will build something and no one will buy it, and that's sad. No return on investment. Secondly, they want return on investment. So they want to put in, let's say, 10,000 euros, and in a couple of years, they would like to get back 100,000 maybe, or okay, 50,000. They want more money back. They just don't want their money back, they want more money back. So that's why you have to show that if we put in this money, we'll be able to build something that will make us more money. The third element that they're looking for is a team that will make it happen. Because, I mean, think about it. If an investor would put in money into a team that is kind of like, I'm not sure if we're actually going to make it happen, but thank you for the money, yeah. We're going to throw a party and that would be nice. That would be a waste of money. So in the pitching competitions, what the investors are looking for is, first of all, is the product in a good place? Is it going to sell well, in their opinion? Do they feel that it's going to grow? And thirdly, do we believe that this team will make it happen? And the funny thing, in a way, is that actually the third element largely depends on your communication skills. Even if you don't know actually how we're going to make it happen, but if you're very convinced on the stage and if you seem to have a good plan, you might convince the listeners that, hey, they actually might make it happen, right? But if it's the opposite, you're like super scared and I'm not sure if that's actually what we're going to do and doubting, the investors will be like, a bit of a red flag here. Not sure if they will actually do it. Third group is mentors. Mentors are the people who just give you feedback, who give you advice. In different programs, you often get mentors in the program who will kind of support you along the way. They don't want anything back, they're just here to help. But whenever you're presenting your idea to a mentor, sometimes we have those mentor speed dating events where you can meet some like other entrepreneurs, you can present your idea and get feedback to that. There's usually three things that the mentors are mostly interested. First, they want to understand, what is it that you're doing? What's the thing? So in like 10 seconds to explain, we are building this product for that kind of people to solve this problem. Ah, okay. Secondly, they want to really understand, what kind of help do you need? What are you struggling with? Well, we are struggling with how to produce that thing. We would like your feedback or advice on that. Okay, let's figure out. And the third element is they want to be valuable. I mean, really sad thing for a mentor is if I, for example, as a mentor, I come to an event, I put in 3 hours of my time and just share a lot of advice and no one does anything with that advice. That would be sad, right? So they want to be valuable, but you can help them be more valuable if you're really clear about what you're doing and really clear about what kind of support you're asking. By the way, mentors don't have to be on events. Mentors could be your team members' parents if they're in business field. Mentors could be someone, friends' parents, for example, if they're in a field. And you can just ask, can we have a 10-minute meeting just to get some feedback? They might give you a really good business perspective how to develop this idea. Maybe they might even bring in some contacts who can help you, right? So don't think about mentors are only on these events. Mentors are potentially around you. Your team members' parents could be one of the finest resources because they are probably an expert in some industry. Are you familiar with this symbol? What is it called? Bluetooth. Okay. Why is it called Bluetooth? Do you know?
It's the literal translation of the
Founder's surname. Aha. Okay, that's one version. Do you know why it's called Bluetooth? Yeah? Yeah, it could be a thing, but why did they name this technology Bluetooth? You want to hear a story? Yeah. So back in the old days, when the engineers were developing this wireless technology, by the way, this remote works with Bluetooth. And these devices are different. This remote and computer, totally different. Kind of like a little bug speaking to a, dog, for example. The question they had was that, how can we develop this wireless technology that different devices could communicate with each other? And they had to find a cool name. You know, cool name as you have to find a cool name for your idea as well. What's the name of our team or project, right? And they were trying these different names, but all the names were kind of taken or already copyrighted, and they couldn't take it. So this one engineer was reading this book about this ancient Viking called Harald Bluetooth. Harald Bluetooth was, formerly he was king of Norway and king of Denmark, and he had this one superpower. His superpower was that he was able to bring different tribes that were in war in each other, wanted to kill each other. He was able to bring those tribes together and get them to communicate with each other. That was his superpower. And this engineer was so inspired from that story, he decided, let's put a temporary name. Let's call this project the Bluetooth. We'll change it before we launch, right? Right. So things got too busy. They weren't able to change the name. They launched it with the Bluetooth, and now it's called the Bluetooth, according to the Viking Harald Bluetooth. My name happens to be Harald as well. Now, what I do as a speaker, my goal is to be able to connect with each and everyone in the audience. You have different past, you have different dreams, different ambitions, but I have to be able to connect with each and every one of you. That's the magic of Bluetooth. And by the way, the next time when you hook up your wireless speaker to listen to some music or wireless headphones with your Bluetooth, you think about who? You think about Harald, this guy who came and taught you about pitching. And you're thinking, why am I thinking about Harald? Why? Because what I just did is an inception. I just planted myself into your mind with this example. And that's actually the goal that you have as a presenter on the stage as well. Whenever you're presenting your idea, it has to be memorable. Now, there were a couple of things that I used intentionally here. I used strong imagery. You know, those tribes that were in war and this Viking was over there. And all of you were imagining some kind of a Viking. It doesn't matter if the Viking is the same. The point is, I engaged your imagination. Secondly, I linked myself into the story, saying, by the way, I'm also Harald. And in my work, it's also vital to being able to connect with each person. And thirdly, what I did, I asked you to imagine the next time when you hook up those wireless headphones that you will remember me. That's how I intentionally planted myself into your memory. Sorry about ruining your wireless headphone speaker experience, but it really lands the point. It really lands the point that whenever you're presenting yourself, your idea, you want to be remembered. I mean, think about it. We have 20 ideas here. And do you really believe that the third idea will be remembered once they are listening to the 19th idea? Depends what you were bringing on the stage. Was it evoking imagination? Was it somehow engaging them? If that was the case, you will be remembered. So that's the story of a Bluetooth. Now you know. You can check out Wikipedia as well if you want to confirm. But the purpose for presenting is plant an idea into the mind of a listener. But there's different levels whenever you're taking the stage that you can attain. The lowest level is just information. Information level is you come on the stage, you say, we are a team of 5 girls. We started 1 year ago. We are creating products that are in the manufacturing industry, and we want to help people live happier lives. Information. That's it. But there's not much this next level over there, which I would call inspiration. Inspiration means that someone comes on the stage and their eyes are shining and they're explaining, we could change the way people handle their relationships, or we have developed this product that will help people to relieve their depression so that they would kind of not make suicide. And oh my God, this is a powerful thing. And everyone's like, yeah, we have to make it happen. That's a powerful thing. Inspired. But maybe you have been inspired in the past as well. But what happened? Maybe you went to one event and maybe a concert, for example. Wow, that was amazing. Your favorite band. Next day and the day after, do you still feel amazing? You know, school comes and schoolwork and mathematics test and everything kind of fades away, right? You can still look at the images and videos and dream like, that was amazing. But inspiration tends to fade away. That's the problem with that. That's why the highest level, perhaps, to attain is transformation. And this means that people will listen to you, and after your talk, they will change something in their behavior. Maybe they will buy your product. Maybe they will start to do it differently. Let's say, for example, an example on recycling. Let's say you have an idea that is environmentally conscious idea, and you want to encourage people to recycle more, that there wouldn't be waste. Information, you could just say how much waste is created and why it's important to not create waste, and people are like, whatever. Inspiration is you could share a story, how you changed something in your behavior and what was the impact, and how many people changed it and what was the impact. Transformation could be something that you invite them to do, like one specific step every day, which is simple, which is easy, which is clear, and they do it. And you change their behavior. And the next time you could ask them to do the next step, and so forth. So that's those different levels. I encourage you to at least reach the level of inspiration, because that at least moves people. But perhaps you could even change the way they behave. So always think about, whenever you're taking the stage, think about, what do I want them to do after my presentation? And if you're clear on that, you have more clarity. What should I talk about? What should I focus so that they would take this step? When it comes to presenting your product or service, usually it's you want them to sign up, you want them to buy it, or you want them to like your Instagram page or whatever the thing is. Could be that thing as well. And then you figure out, how do we do it? So how do we do it? Here's a couple of essentials when it comes to presenting your idea. Here's 3 questions that I always encourage you to think through whenever you're taking the stage. First, why do I speak? What do I want to get as a result of my speech? Here today, it's not a competition. So it's not about, I want to win or I want to get this prize. Here today is just simulation, just playing through that. But often, you have a really clear thing what you want. You want customers to buy that product. You want mentors to come and mentor your team. That's what I want. Okay? The second question is, who are the listeners? If I'm taking the stage, what do they care about? What's in it for them? You remember, I brought out these 3 different groups. Usually what customers want, usually what investors want, and usually what mentors want. So these are the things that they relate to. And the third question is, what do I have to show them, or how do I have to persuade them so that they will give it to me? What do I have to show them? What do I have to prove them? What do I have to kind of give them as a hint so that they would want to give it to me? Are you together with your team members currently? Partly? Okay. Let's try to find your team members and sit together, if possible. And I will ask you to go through those 3 questions just to discuss with each other. So with our idea, what do we want to get? Any kind of support, any kind of feedback, any kind of help? What do we need? Secondly, today, the listeners of the jury members will be basically, they are just here to help. Consider them as your mentors. They have business background, they have education background. They just want to support you on your path of developing your idea. But then the third question is, what should we tell them about our idea so that they would be kind of super interested in mentoring us, super interested in giving us valuable feedback? What do we have to show them? What's so interesting about our idea? I kindly ask you to find your team members and just 1 or 2 minutes, try to go through how would you answer those 3 questions. If you're already with your team members, engage into a conversation. If not, if possible, try to find them. All right, thank your partners. Don't worry if you didn't have enough time to go through them. We will go through them in the workshop part as well. So find a seat. Let's check out one example of elevator pitch. It's actually an investor pitch. So I want you to follow along with this video, and I want you to observe how this startup founder is presenting his idea, his company. And I want you to notice what is it that he does well, and if there's something that you would do differently. So find a seat. We will watch this video for a few minutes. Let's see if it will run over here. Okay. Hi.
We are in Babel, and we are translation as a service.
Can you hear it?
The majority of new internet users will not speak English. This means that every company that wants to grow internationally needs translation. But right now, there are only 2 options. Human translation, which is very expensive, and machine translation, which is not good enough, and is not going to be anytime soon. The solution is to combine the 2. We are building a machine translation engine that incorporates human editors to fix its mistakes. By doing this, you get machine translation that actually works. And we are the right team to do it. Both me and one of my co-founders have PhDs in natural language processing. We know machine translation. We already have 4,400 human editors from all around the world working at Enbabel. And we're growing 13% per week. And thanks to our technology, on average, an Enbabel editor is 5 times faster than a human translator, which allows us to charge 2 cents per word, which is 5 times less than what companies pay for translation right now with the same quality. And if you ask someone if they want to pay 5 times less for the same product, selling is kind of easy. That's why in the last 12 weeks, we have been growing 40% per week in the number of translated words. We have a great set of early adopters, ranging from small companies who use us almost daily to interact with their international customers to large companies, which will save a lot of money using Enbabel. We all know exactly how big the translation market is, $34 billion. And we're already a part of that market. We've been translating manuals, subtitles, and legal documents. But at our price point, it's now possible to translate this huge amount of content that until now was just too expensive to translate, like customer service emails, newsletters, forums. So I don't know how much bigger we can make this $34 billion market, but I know it will be big enough that you should come talk to us. So thank you. We are Enbabel. We are translation as a service.
So let's analyze for a moment. What was it that he did well? What were some of the things he did well? Were you, by the way, were you able to understand what this idea was all about that he was presenting? Okay. What did he do well? Okay, so he basically said how their solution would be significantly cheaper solution. Okay. His growth, so he's showing that it's actually working. It's getting, the English word is traction, which means that people are using the service. Mm-hmm. Yes? Uh-huh. So which statistics do you mean? How big the market was? Was that statistic? Mm-hmm. So one of the advantage that Enbabel CEO had in this moment when it was recorded that they were already established company. It was not only an idea, but he was pitching investors to put in more money, and he was able to show how it's growing, able to show what is the value. So this is an investor pitch. Anything else he did well? Yes, please. Uh-huh. So not too much text, only like very specific diagrams. So if you remember, he was comparing this machine translation and human translation. What is the disadvantages of both, and showing how we take kind of advantages of machine translation that is cheap, an advantage of human translation that is like more correct. It made it very simple to understand, right? Color? Mm-hmm. Too expensive was red, not good. Uh-huh. Yeah. Very like clear and very clear symbols in a sense. What else did he do well? Yes, please. Good what? Good and loud. It was clear. He was pronouncing things clearly, and it was easy to understand and listen. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes? Mm-hmm. So he showed kind of examples. Is that the case? Mm-hmm. How it will work. But he didn't make it that much complicated. He kind of really simply explained it. He didn't go into detail. We have this AI learning machine that will do that, and then advanced process like graphs with tens of different elements. He just really made it simple and clear how it works. And then he proved that we have clients who are buying that, which means we are actually able to make it work. And he used this time to rather focus on showing how big the market could be, how good it could be for the investor. This was an example of an investor pitch, okay? Any other thing you noticed? Yes, please. He was confident, yeah, he believed it will happen. Mm-hmm. Okay, he felt convincing. Yes, please.
He also proved that their team is really good and they will be able to do that.
Yes. So when they showed the team slide, it was just a quick overview of their background, and the main thing that he said is how these people, their education is related to the product that they are doing. Not just, oh, these guys are from Harvard and everything, but these have learned national, what was the language learning processing. Like, well, they had basically learned the field that they are working. They are experts of the field. That's how he just explained that. Not just saying that, oh, this guy is this fancy background. Really short, but what they bring on the table. Did I see your hand as well? You want to add? All right. Anyone else want to add? What did he do well? Yes, please. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And actually, one of the very important structures, you could use different structures for presenting your idea, but it's usually always the best to start with the problem. Because if people don't understand the problem and you start to present the solution, they're like, why do I need it? Or why this matters? So it's always the really clear what the problem is that you're solving and showing how do we solve that, right? And I think he did that quite well. Anything else you would like to add? Yes, please. Okay, didn't just stand like this, but was able to kind of, although he didn't move around that much, he was kind of on one corner, but kind of still expressing himself, not too tight. Because if we lock ourselves in, then our voice is also kind of limited. But if we let ourselves move, we can kind of move a little bit, because he was competing with the slide. That's why he didn't want to kind of run around too much in front of that, I guess. Anything else you would like to add? Anything you would change if you were in his shoes? What would you do differently? Yes, please. Bit of aggressive, uh-huh. Aha, end it quickly. Yeah, it's usually because they have a timer on the stage and yes, they have to end it. It is a question how people sense it. Is it too aggressive? Is it too much? I guess the point he wanted to make is to make sure that the investors will quickly come to him. He used this phrase in the end, and that's a good reason that you should come and talk to us. That was his call to action. And making feel this kind of like a sense of urgency, perhaps in the end. That maybe if this investor is not there by time, other investors might join in. So it depends what their strategy was. Maybe if it would have been not an investor pitch, but a client pitch, then it would have been too kind of urging. Maybe he would have approached the other way. Now, luckily, today, you don't have to do an investor pitch. You don't have to show that how much traction we have, and we have Google as our client. You don't have to do that. But I just wanted to show you one of the ways that can be really impactful. For today, in 1 or 2 minutes, I guess the key thing is to show what's the problem that we want to solve, what's our idea for the solution, why we believe this solution will work, and why you should come and mentor us or support us along the path. Did you want to add as well? Yes. Saw your hand. Yes, please. Uh-huh. If it's not the same, like different words, it's hard to read. Okay. So trying to use the same words that are on the slides and that you say, and if possible, actually try to take as much words away from the slide, because otherwise it's competing with you. Good thing is today you don't have to use slides. Don't worry about that one, but it was just one example how slides can be an advantage for you, can be a benefit to explain the idea. But let's keep today very simple, because if we're giving you an assignment to make slides as well, then you might ask, we will need 2 days to prepare them to really make good ones. All right, so this is one example. There's plenty of examples out there to check out, but I encourage you, go out there and learn about, you could actually take your favorite companies and check out in YouTube if they have their pitch, their presentation over there, and how it's presented, to learn what are some of the ways that you could attain it. Now let's dive in. What are some of the principles on making it happen? One of the things that I encourage you to do is make a very simple version of an explanation of your idea. I call it the granny test. You know, if at the weekend you would go to your granny's place and your granny would ask, so what are you up to? What are you currently doing? You wouldn't tell your granny, so we are making this crypto machine exchange that will give tokens and things like that. Granny's like, well, that's very confusing. Pancakes? Rather, for your granny, you would say, hey, granny, we're changing the way people can use their money, or we're like very simple explanation and example over there. So let's do a really quick rehearsal in a way. When I give a shout that we start, then I ask you to stand up and go to 2 persons, 1 person and then another person who are not part of your team, who don't know what your idea is all about. Say hello to them and give a very short description what your idea is all about and why do you believe this is a really good, valuable solution. You could say, what is the problem that we are solving, how we are solving it, and why it's good. But the point there is, give a simple explanation. Just very simple explanation so that they will get it, then say thank you and go to another person. If they have any questions, they could ask from you as well. Well, how do you actually do it? Or how do you do that one as well? Let's try giving a very simple explanation to what your idea is all about. So we call it granny test. We can also call it just a person from a street test who don't know your idea, don't know your industry, and they're asking, what are you doing? 3, 2, 1. Stand up. Find 1 or 2 people that you haven't been able to talk today. Say hello and give a quick overview what you are doing with your idea. Every person that you meet is an opportunity to rehearse your pitch. So ever our old schoolmate or someone is coming saying, what are you up to, what's going on, then that's your moment to rehearse your short pitch, giving a simple explanation. So these guys have this kind of problem, we are building this solution that will help them, and we're currently in this phase, so that's what we're doing. You can try like these different ways of explaining your idea, but I will give you a couple of frameworks that you can use to structure your pitch. One of those frameworks is a simple one. It's just 3 questions. The first question is, what? What is it that you're doing? So what? Why we should care? I mean, there's probably other companies doing similar thing as well. Why your solution is somehow better? And the third question is, now what? What should we do now? Should we try it out, or what's the next step, right? So what is it? Why it's better than anything else out there? Why you should care? And what can you do to join in? That's one of the ways. Another way is, think of your presentation. I can put it back for a moment. Yes, you wanted to grab a photo of those 3 questions. What, so what, now what? Another way is, think about your presentation as kind of like an airplane taking off, staying in the air, and landing. So the first step, when you take the stage, let's say you have 2 minutes to present your idea. You first want to get people's attention in the air. You want them to get on your plane. And if you think about the physics of plane taking off, that's where most of the energy usually goes, to take off. That's actually where you have to put most of your energy in your presentation as well, to start strong, to get them on board with you, right? So how? One way is you could offer what the problem is, and you could propose that we have a solution to this problem. So I would say, if you have 2 minutes, put 30 seconds in the beginning to help people understand that there is a specific problem, why that is a problem, who has that problem, and give them hope that you can somehow solve that problem. Secondly, once the plane is in the air, if the beginning was about making them care that they would listen, then the main part, this 1 minute, for example, out of 2-minute presentation, would be about building trust. So in the trust, you could explain how your solution works, why you believe that this solution will actually solve that problem, and perhaps if you've already done something, you could show that as well. Kind advice is that if you haven't done much, if it's only an idea, just explain how powerful it will be. Because this Unbabel CEO, they had done a lot, already got a lot of traction. That's why he was speaking about it. But if you don't have any customers, any products ready, then you kind of just like, ignore it. Because there's not much to talk over there. Because your goal is to build trust that we can make it happen, and whichever your current basis is. The third step is plane has to land as well. And it shouldn't be an emergency landing, like crashing down. It should be this elegant way of summarizing what your idea is all about. Now, when it comes to you, perhaps, by the way, quick question. Who is very certain that they will make this idea happen? Who is certain they will make this idea happen? Oh, you have very big ideas. Okay, we need a lot of acting today then, yeah. So one of the ways that we can use an ending, if we haven't done much, but our vision is strong, then one of the ways to make this end is to help people envision what it would be like if this solution is actually built, how it will improve people's lives. You know that, not information, but inspiration level, just to make them feel like, oh my God, that would be really cool if we could make it happen. So problem in the beginning, your solution in the middle, and then hope for the future, how this solution could improve things. The power of imagination is a powerful thing. Even if you haven't built any of those products or solutions yet, but you can get people to imagine what if they would have those in their lives. Perhaps you're able to convince them to mentor you, to guide you throughout the process, to somehow help you along the journey. So we will, in the workshop part, we will be thinking through how to present our idea, and we will be rehearsing that as well. We will be having parallel sessions. So some of the students will be in this room on the first session. Some of the students will be in this next room over there. I will be in that next room over there, and pitching workshop will be there. In this room, we will have the media, the TV show simulation.